Hey everybody, welcome to the Cosmic Panel. Today we are reviewing the hotly anticipated Secret Invasion show. We just watched the finale together. We're going to kind of give our thoughts on the series overall. And so first off, Lucas, could you give a one-sentence summary of your feelings on the show? Operative word can, could.
Would. um, the show is very without stakes due to the fact that it is without heroes. But outside of that, it is quite good.
Similar to what I was going to say, but what I was going to say is this is everything I would want out of a Secret Invasion show that's not going to include superheroes.
The show doesn't really work without heroes. I think that this plot, the reason why it's so interesting in the comics is because anyone could be a Skrull. We weren't limited by actors, we weren't limited by any specific characters. Anyone legitimately could be a Skrull, and that was what made it so interesting. It's like the Thing. Like, imagine if you watched the Thing, but you knew half of the cast could not be the Thing. Or like
Yeah,
take out most of the important lovable characters. Like it feels like we're missing a huge chunk.
yeah,
And while I like to say like these MCU shows always feel like they're part of the MCU but also not at the same time, this one really feels like it's not part of the MCU, which sucks because it has really interesting points, but without like a Carol Danvers or a Tony or like even like specific characters that like Rhodey was good during it, but could he have been in it even more? Maybe.
that's fair. I think because I've just become so used to not seeing huge heroes in small stake shows like this that I was already like ready for that. So like for what it was, I enjoyed it. Like I thought it was a good like mystery and thriller and unwinding stuff like that. I think also just the roadie thing being spoiled for you definitely took one of the major like reveals
Yeah,
out of it for you.
it
Um,
definitely did. I got spoiled by TikTok. Curse you, TikTok. Yeah, just swiping one day and literally just showed immediately the shower scene from Rhodey, and I was just like, well, there goes that.
Cause like
Um,
he's like a heavy player, so that definitely hurts. But yeah, again,
yeah,
just because of I was not expecting a lot of heroes, which is always really silly. I just liked it for what it was. But it is of course ridiculous that like there's all these terror attacks happening and like there's not like random heroes or even new heroes popping up that are being
like yeah,
affected by it.
even like street level heroes would have been enough. Like introduce some street level heroes just to give us something. I don't know. Like I feel like one of the ideas I told lies that I know they couldn't have done, but would have been really interesting was if they quote unquote brought Tony or Cap back, but it was actually a scroll. But because they announced themselves publicly, Nick and all them couldn't kill them in public. I think that would have been a really interesting way to, oh, you have to reveal who they are without actually attacking them because then you lose all public trust. Um, that I feel like would have worked, but then again, obviously they couldn't do that because Robert Downey Jr. probably wouldn't want to do that. Chris Evans probably wouldn't want to do that, and I don't think even with their budget, they probably couldn't afford that and Samuel L. Jackson. Let's be honest. Um, but yeah, let's talk about the overall plot of the show.
So I was kind of fearing this show when I after I watched Captain Marvel because Captain Marvel, the first movie, really paints the Skrulls as like this friendly, happy species, and then
Yeah,
I knew that they were gonna have to take a pivot, but I thought I did it in a logical way. So basically, the threat is there's a rebel Skrull group that has decided that Nick Fury's promise, wasn't good enough and wasn't fulfilled. So they take it upon themselves to create chaos in the human world by taking over, a bunch of positions of power. And basically trying to re-sculpt the Earth into their own home.
Yeah.
That's how I would summarize the plot.
No, that's definitely the best way to put it. The only thing I would really add is the fact that the plan kind of pivots, I would say, halfway through into turning Skrulls into Super Skrulls. That's like the only thing I would add. Because that is a big part of the climactic battle, quote unquote. But I really think Gravik is a very interesting villain. I actually think he's quite good. I think he might be my favorite villain out of all of them from the Marvel TV shows. Like I know people love Agatha and like stuff like that, but I think Gravik really the actor brought a lot of gravitas. Da da da.
No, I
Uh,
can't. I can't name a better TV show villain. I mean, I'm struggling to even think of another one besides Agatha, to be honest.
yeah, that counts in the actual MCU. So not like any of the Daredevil. Like otherwise, it would just be Kingpin. But
No, no, no. Just the Disney Plus shows.
yeah, which Kingpin technically was part of, but I don't think he was good in that particularly. But yeah, no,
Wasn't
like
the focus.
Gravik's like final speech was phenomenal. Like that whole scene, like that man worked for his paycheck. um, but yeah, no, I think Gravik was definitely the most interesting part. Um, especially because we took that perspective of a Skrull that felt kind of betrayed. And on top of that, I think also when it was on the focus on the Skrulls, I was actually really invested. I feel like when I was focused on Fury, that was when I was starting to not care as much, which I think is like weird because that shouldn't be how it works, to be honest. Fury kind of was just a dick for most of the show, which like I get that's like his personality and stuff like that, but it was just it's really frustrating how dickish he was to Talos, for example, like being like, "I cleaned up your mess," and like Talos was like, "The fuck are you talking about, man? Like I've literally been doing shit for you for years." It just feels like Fury just completely lost his like analytical like relationship building. I don't know, which I maybe that's in part due to the blip, but also like the fact that they just kept hammering home that like man, Fury, you've never been the same since the blip. You've never been the same since the blip. It was like 5 people in the first episode said that. I swear.
I mean, that's like every MCU media post, Endgame or Infinity War is that, which is super annoying, especially at this point, like when it feels so many years detached now. But
Yeah,
to be fair, like, yes, that's a big deal. Like, these
yeah,
people disappeared and came back, but it's just annoying to hear every five
yeah,
seconds. Um, but yeah, this is like a really worn down Fury. Um, the thing that I liked about it at the beginning, it sort of got annoying as it went on, as the show went on, but like the dynamic between him and Talos, they were like two old bickering men. Uh,
yeah.
and like his whole crew was just Nick, Talos, and Maria Hill, and he by the end of the show he loses both of those
All of
people.
them. Yeah,
So it's pretty brutal for Nick, and they just make it a point to show that he's really at the end of his rope. Um, I don't know what else he has to do now besides show up in the Marvels, like because either
yeah,
they're gonna give him like a big heroic death, or they're gonna like you know usher him out off screen. Like I don't know, because he's done so
yeah. I
much now.
I would have liked if honestly the scroll machine kind of worked on him, but it killed him in the process. Like as an after effect, like he kills Gravik, but like he dies. I feel like that would have been cool. It'd be like for once you are the superhero. Ah,
Yeah,
now I just made a better end. Fuck! Why do I keep
yeah.
doing
No,
this?
and we knew that Gaia was gonna be the switch out. So that was kind of trite. Uh,
Yeah, and it made Fury's speech near the end so like retroactively anticlimactic because then you know it's not Fury saying any of that. So it's like Fury apologizing, saying all this shit. It's like so this isn't Fury. Fury doesn't give a shit about this. How
I
much did
mean,
Gaia say was actually true versus like
yeah.
just her like ad libbing off the top of her head because it's not like she had a machine to copy Fury's memories either. Like, so like she's just doing that based off of like how he acts. Um, so it didn't necessarily feel that great. The final battle was fine. I will say the last episode felt very very rushed. Um, they didn't tie up a lot of loose ends. Like we tied up Gravik, and then that was kind of it. They were just like, okay, Skrulls are part of this world now. The president has sent out like basically an assassination request to any Skrulls. People are killing random politicians. Nick Fury went to fuck his Skrull wife in space, and what else? Oh yeah, Rhodey's been disappeared for how many years, and we're just not going to acknowledge that anymore. And it's like, no, no, please acknowledge that,
We don't know
especially.
how long he was gone. We
They
don't know
didn't
how long
even
anyone was gone. Anyone was gone.
I just wanted a number. Like at least like so that like so then like the super fans can fucking calculate it or whatever the fuck. Um but also the fact that like we didn't even get a post credit scene with that, like at least minimum, like if we got a post credit scene teasing like Armor Wars from that, I might have been like down. I think that would have been cool. Because then it would have been like, oh, he's never like let's say he was never War Machine, period. Like that would have been crazy. It's like, oh, he's got to learn how to fly an Iron Man suit, and he has to deal with all the like. It would have been nuts. It would have been really interesting.
I was just gonna say the only like thing that we can try to piece together is that he needed to be carried out. Um, so either
His
he
muscle
he
atrophy.
definitely had legs, but it's a question were they the robotic legs that Tony made or were they his regular legs? That's the real question.
Yeah, I do wonder if it's muscle atrophy or what. Because yeah, I mean, it could just be muscle atrophy, and they're just like they didn't think that through. Um, but I would love to know like how deep does this go? Outside of that, they killed Maria Hill, which was really surprising to be honest. I really was not expecting that.
I think the first episode was very strong. Opening scene was compelling. You know, brought you like right into it. And then closing scene, you know, of like at first Nick just pulling up to Maria and just shooting her like point blank was
Yeah,
like pretty crazy, and also
no,
just
that
that
definitely.
Gravik was successful in putting the bombs off, like that was also very shocking, you know. Um, that I at least like about this show is like it's very violent, in a way that you don't usually get in the MCU. Like they just like straight up like showed
A
Sonya like
terrorist attack.
cutting. Well, that and just they straight up showed Sonya cutting off like that scroll's finger. Like there were some very brutal moments that you don't usually get out of anything MCU related. So like I appreciated it for those kind of brutal moments. But it was just about follow through at the end, you know.
Yeah, no, definitely. Also, like the fact that I feel like we, I feel like not even having like Sam or any of them like being around involved with this just felt very out of place. Especially if like Sam is supposed to be the new Captain America, I feel like this is exactly the scenario that he should have been involved with. Um, like maybe he like tells everyone that like the Skrulls are trustworthy and they have to take his word because he is Captain America.
I don't think Anthony Mackie was especially busy. Like I don't see him in anything right now. Like
Apparently he's doing what's it called? The fucking racing game that they're turning into a TV show.
the Gran
Um
Turismo movie.
no, no,
No.
no, no, it's the thing with the clown that's called Sweet Tooth. Um Clown Sweet
Oh, that shit's going straight to streaming. Yeah,
Twisted Metal.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
That's like the only thing that I can think of off the top of my head that he's doing recently. But like even then it's like really? Like even like a single episode? And also this was probably filmed long before too.
No, yeah. Something would have been nice. Even like I don't know, Winter Guard throwaways, like because a lot of it is about Russia. You know, like
Oh
give
my
me
god, that I didn't
make
even
up
think about that. Yeah.
make up a hero, introduce a new hero. Like give me just like one or two people to show that it's not just a you know street level threat because it's not. You know, they're overtaking major politicians, major positions of power, and they're trying to become super Skrulls. So you think that they would be more interested in any superhero they can find. You know?
Yeah, like DNA wise or anything like that. Like
Yeah.
they would be hunting like let's say like Isaiah Bradley or like Scarlet Witch or any of them like down as fast as they can. It just feels like why wouldn't they at that point? But also, I did want to point out I think one of the most compelling scenes though in the show, especially in the finale specifically, was when they were killing the politicians. I was like, oh, this is fucked. Like this is how you realize like this is fucked. Like even if they do manage to kill all the Skrulls, this will never fix. Like they will now be permanently just. This is just QAnon. This is just QAnon, which
No,
is
there's a lot
crazy.
of yeah, there's a lot of good like political moments in the show, and I like especially that you reminded me like of Fury's speech to Talos on the train. Like he's like, "You think that we have room for another species on this planet? We don't even get along with each other. Like
Yeah,
we can't even do that. And now you want to introduce a whole nother thing. Like no one's gonna trust them." So there were cool moments like that where it's just showing how hateful the human race is and stuff like that. Um, but yeah, no, it is really crazy that there's just going to be people now, right? Just and I guess representing the right wing, maybe, who are going to be paranoid and just shooting people that they think are Skrulls.
blowing up the Capitol, being like, "They're all Skrulls.
Right.
I killed them all."
So
Them killing the Tucker Carlson villain was crazy. But yeah, like I like the fact that like they're killing politicians that aren't even Skrulls. Like they're just genuine people that they're just straight up murdering. Um, but yeah, no, I think this show has some interesting repercussions. I don't think we're going to be visiting them anytime soon because it's such a. It's not to say like it's such a niche like area, but it's a very political area in that scenario, and I can't see like let's say like the Captain America movie dealing with that.
I mean, I really hope it does,
Yeah,
because like this
but
is a huge deal, like for that universe, but probably won't, unfortunately.
yeah, I mean apparently they're dealing with Cobra Society, which is like that's cool, but like
But
to
Serpent
be honest,
Society,
this is more interesting.
they're doing Serpent Society.
So yeah, Serpent Society.
Word.
But like I personally think like this is more interesting than that. Like having these people like actually, you know what they should have done? They should have just done scrolls for Captain America 4. Should have just done Secret Invasion then. Like I feel like using it for a show is fine, but like then you would have been able to bring in Rhodey, would have been able to bring in Bucky, you would have been able to bring in Sam, maybe even some other heroes like Sharon. Maybe you could have revealed that the power broker Sharon was actually a Skrull. Like, bro, why do I keep doing this? I keep on pitching better fucking movies and shows.
I mean, to be fair, it's not hard to do these
Yeah.
days, but no, you make a good point.
The show was good, but it could have been better. And that's what I think is the key thing is that their limitations of separating TV shows and films is really shooting themselves in the foot because while I do like the TV shows in certain scenarios, this was not one of those scenarios where I think it could have blossomed more as a film. I feel like having it as a film would have made more sense. Like let's say Moon Knight. Moon Knight I think worked as a show. WandaVision worked as a show, but this Captain America and Falcon and Winter Soldier, like those shows where I think it's espionage thrillers, I feel like would have worked better as films.
I think this could have been a show if it included more of a cast. That's all.
Yeah,
And there's benefits to having it be an intimate cast, especially for like a mystery like this. But it doesn't help show it doesn't reasonably portray the massive
stakes.
threat that it is. Yeah, the stakes. Yeah, it just doesn't make sense that no hero would be responding to all this destruction. Especially when you have like whole movies that are being like Eternals. They've been here this whole time. They just haven't done shit. They've just been here. So it's like if you're gonna keep introducing characters like that have been around the entire MCU duration, you can't keep having them like not then show up in a dire situation like this.
No, exactly. Like you guys keep on having these characters. Like, why isn't one of these people like invading Asgard, and then just like, oh, got your drop of blood. That's it. Okay, I'm out of here. There you go.
Yeah.
That's your Super Skrull Asgardian DNA. Like, it's not like you specifically need Thor's DNA.
New
To be
Asgard
honest,
is literally on Earth.
yeah, like it's not. Literally a hop, skip, and a jump away. Like, it's not that crazy. Who else could they steal from? I mean, Spidey probably wouldn't be that difficult. Kamala Khan, if they really wanted to. I mean, there's Skrulls. Like, this is like easy stuff that they could have easily taken from, and
Yeah.
it would have been cool to see.
Even
I
just
don't
like a
know.
cameo sequence where it's like a bunch of cameos, just like for like 2 minutes, and it's just like a second. You just see like someone walking by Kamala in the streets of Jersey City, like brushes her and like grabs something from
Pricks
her.
her.
Yeah, whatever, right? Like just like a sequence of just a bunch of cameos like that.
Yeah.
But they had to build to the Super Skrull like the final form for the last episode because that was like the logical climax that they had in mind.
Yeah,
So
I feel like they could have done a better climax, honestly. I feel like, yeah, sure, fighting is fine, but I feel like this is one of those shows where I don't think you needed to have a big bombastic fighting scene to end the show. I feel like it should have actually not done that because the entire show, the entire point of the show is to be subversive, stealthy, stick to the shadows.
it's a Cold
not
War.
Yeah, not to point to the elephant in the room, but giant glowing Carol Danvers powers kind of does put a giant spotlight on your fight. I feel like it would have been way cooler if it was just like Nick Fury just outsmarted him, rather than it
Definitely.
was like you, like let's say like for example, Nick destroyed the machine by like let's say like those pills. You know what would have been a really cool callback? You remember how Rhodey was like nanomachines and shit like that? Like, what do you have nanomachines in this? What if there were nanomachines in the pill, and then when the pill went down, it exploded the machine, like later on?
Yeah.
Like, he had a detonator or something, and then there's a machine destroyed, and now he has to face against Gravik. And then it's just him versus Gravik, but he's having to, like, he's placed, like, let's say, like, mines. He's, like, set up a location for him to best have advantage without powers.
But yeah, so I guess
Secret
next
invasion,
is
more like secret midvasion. Whoa! It was decent.
I guess the next thing now is Marvels, right?
Yeah. The next Marvel
Is that
thing
it?
is going to be Marvels.
There's also a What If
November.
season 2 coming, right? And
I don't think that's coming out anytime soon. Let me check. Wait,
no, it is this
Marvel
year, pretty sure.
release dates.
But I'm just trying to think what stuff's
Oh no, we have
announced.
Loki too. We have Loki
Oh,
season
Loki,
2,
yeah. When is that?
October 6th.
All right, that I'm actually curious about.
That I'm genuinely especially because King is a part of it.
Which has to deal with Saber and stuff because Nick was in the trailer, right?
Yeah, it's gotta be like it has.
So
It definitely has to be because he's definitely in it.
we got to get some Skrull stuff in Marvels then. Like
Definitely.
that's the only time that we would get a follow up. Like they're not gonna touch it otherwise.
Also, I thought the whole point of Carol was like the reason why she was in fuck all space was because she was looking for a planet. But if Fury's saying like,
No, because
I know that's
the last that we saw was her swapping places with Kamala at the end of the Miss Marvel show. So she should be on Earth right now. She should just be confused.
yeah,
She should just be confused as to why she swapped places with Kamala. Like the Miss Marvel show came out like a year ago now? Like I don't know. Like a
yeah,
while ago. And that's where she was left. So unless they're like, this was conveniently a few months before she swapped
yeah.
places with
I think that's
Kamala,
what's happening.
then that's really annoying. But
But what I was actually though what I was trying to point out was because remember Miss Marvel just fucked off for like 30 years. The whole point of her like dipping and not coming back to Earth was she was looking for a planet for the Skrulls. But if Fury said that and I know this is Gaia, so maybe it's wrong, but like if Fury's saying like, oh, we found out in a couple of years, what the fuck is she still out there? like at that point, like come back. Like there's no reason for you to be out there at that point.
they better have a damn good explanation when Carol gets back in Marvels. She
No,
better
very,
be
very
like,
true.
yeah, I was actually fighting the entire annihilation wave. So
By
I was.
myself with one hand tied behind my back.
That's why I took so long. Like, better have some good ass explanation. But yeah, any other thoughts before we wrap out?
If a squirrel turns into a black woman, is it blackface?
That's the real question. And I genuinely wanted them to address that because like she kept asking Nick like, "Do you love me for me or do you love the face that I took on?" Like,
I mean, he made out with her, bro. Like, shark teeth and all.
right,
Like,
but he never answered her question though. He just kept dodging the question. Just saying.
he's dodging it like bullets.
No, really. But yeah, so let us know what you guys thought of the show in the comments. Let us know who you think is a scroll in your life. And as always, like, subscribe, smash that bell button. Don't forget to support your local comic shop and read comics.
Bye.